Hi guys, I've got one of those shopping list requests where somebody sent me their school project. Got to make a wind powered car. Whole list of things we can use. Can't use a hot glue gun. Can use tape, can use paper clips, can use a 12 to 20 ounce plastic bottle. Now that caught my eye because I've no idea how big that is. So I had a little dig in my store and found this bottle, and I filled it up, and it takes about 18 fluid ounces. So I'm guessing it's probably a 20 fluid ounce bottle. So I'm going to use that as the main body. It's got some convenient seams on it that I can use to line up my axles. It doesn't say anything about bamboo canes or barbecue skewers. So paper clips, I've straightened one out as best I can, and I'm going to use that as an axle. Well, I'm going to use two of them for two axles, front and back. I can use CDs, and I can use bottle caps, it said somewhere, bottle caps. But if I put bottle caps on the CDs, they'll be too wide to use this as an axle. Now, I could just put one on either side and bend it out so I could have a much longer axle, which is one option, as long as they spin freely on there, then that'd be fine. So that would be another option. Straighten out with paper clips and then bend them at right angles and then tape them in place. Might be some problems with that. They may not stay very well. You'd have to do, if you just bent them straight at a right angle, then there'd be nothing to stop them twisting. So you'd have to bend a right angle down that way and a right angle that way, and then tape it, and that would stop it sticking out. So there's alternatives here, but I'm going to go for just straight through at the moment. Obviously, you've got a big hole in the middle of your CD that's no good for. So what I've done here is I've cut up another plastic bottle into little squares, well, rectangles, and then used tape to tape them in place. And then I used a compass to draw a circle the same size as a CD. That meant we got the centre marked where the pin from the compass goes through. And then what I used was a map pin like this. I lined it up so that we're positioned, and then put the pin through where the hole is there. I'll just do this one, see if I can get it right. It's a bit misleading in the camera and under these lights because I'm getting shadows everywhere. So it's not quite so clear what I'm doing. But that, to me, should be the centre. So now, if I put that through there, it spins freely. So my plan is to bend that up at right angles, just at the end to hold the wheel in place. And that will be my wheels on the axle. I'm relying on there not being a lot of weight in this build, otherwise these will just collapse. And if you're allowed to use, it doesn't say what size paper clip, so if you can get the nice big thick ones, then they'll be a lot stronger. Anyway, so that's the plan. Looking at this one, so say there's a seam with a cross on it, a seam coming down that way and a seam going around that way. So if I put my pin right in there, come around the other side, put my pin in the same position, then we should be able to push that through there. And if your eyesight's good enough, through there, and that's our axle. Gonna have to look at the front end a bit carefully to work out where we're going to get the same effect here. It needs to be where it's fattest, which is just there, but we need to make sure it's exactly parallel on both sides. So I think I'll have to do a bit of measurement. In fact, it'd be best if I use a pen. There's no point in me giving you measurements because your bottle may be a different size. I am actually using 16 centimetres, but that may be different for you. You do want to try and get this as accurate as possible to try and make sure the car goes straight. Right, let's see if we can just demonstrate doing another one of those wheels. In case you're wondering, I am making this up as I go along. I haven't done one of these as a practice first, so I've no idea whether the end result is going to work. But that's how I stuck the bits of plastic on. Well, that's my first attempt, and it's a fail. In fact, it did go quite well. I've just wrapped a bit of tape around itself so it's sticky on both sides and just stuck the styrofoam plate straight at the front there, and the wind blows it along and it does go, but the wheels are just too wobbly, so it loses directional stability, I suppose we could say. In other words, it goes off at an angle. So I'm going to have to find some way of keeping those wheels spinning nicely like that, instead of flopping around. Just so you can see what I mean, that it does actually work. Turn that off. Whoa. Away we go. So it works, but as I say, because these wheels are wobbling around too much, we're not getting a nice straight run, which is what we want. If I could use something else for the axles, I'd have no trouble at all. Just my ordinary bamboo canes would keep the wheels nice and straight, and we'd go. So we're going to have a rethink. Right, this is my first alternative. I've just bent the paperclip at right angles and taped it in place, so it's actually fixed to the axle instead of freewheeling. It does mean this axle is going to need to be very straight. And then just take that off there for now. Oh, I've also made some little bits of plastic here to act as washers, I suppose you could call them. It's coming on to rain. Right, that's through there. Another one of those little washer things on there. That's just to hold the wheels away from the bodywork as best I can. And that's going to go on there. Now I've got to bend it as tightly as I can, which is not going to be easy. How about if I do that? If I do that, then that's going to give us a little bit of play. Right, I'm going to stick that on there like that. Right, so that's our wheels now. We are very lightweight, very delicate. But that's better than them just slopping around like they were. Right, we'll try that again. So the wheels are better than they were. They're not perfect by any means, but they're better. So, switch this thing on. I've no idea what sort of distance we're supposed to be aiming for. But that moved, and that was very simple. Well, that's given us about 7 meters, and that's about as simple as I can make it. I mean, we could play around with making a bigger sail, positioning it in a different position. I somewhat suspect it might go better if it was at the front rather than the back. But that's a very basic one anyway. It does the job with the components that are allowed. Hey, thanks for watching. There's plenty of videos on my main channel with more added daily, so don't forget to subscribe and enable the notifications to keep you up to date with my new releases. You can help keep my channel running by donating $1 on Patreon to buy me coffee. You can always find more information in the video description. Thanks again for watching.